All right. Let's see if anybody is out there. I am just a few seconds early. And I don't have any idea how much power is going to last in my phone. My phone's going to run out of power. Anybody out there? So I am definitely not where I should be. As you can tell, I am in my car because there's no power at my house. That was a wee bit of a problem. So I hopped in the car and I came up to 2 towns over to Wawa. So I'm definitely not where I should be. Yes, power is out at my house and it's going to be a while. And my phone is not charged either. So this is not going to last too very long. I was all set, you know, makeup on, whole 9 yards, and was going to do a thing where we work together and maybe list some things tonight on eBay and work together and everybody tell us what their challenges that they're working on. And it wasn't going to happen because I realized that you could hear this really loud humming coming from outside. And I've heard that noise before over the years. I know that's not a good noise. So I'm looking out the window and I can see green arcs of light flying up into the sky. And then I just waited for the bang because that's a transformer going wrong and exploding. One of the transformers on the pole. So as I was leaving, I passed the fire trucks that were heading to it. So it's going to be a while where there's my whole street, the street behind me, we're all completely out. So with that being what the case is, with a transformer blowing, it's going to be a couple of hours before they have the power back on. So it's I know it's one of the pole ones, one of the transformers up on the pole, because it is only the 4 blocks of my street and about 2 blocks of the street behind me. So that's a pole transformer. It's probably the one that's right on the main road and my street. I went through some of the, no, I can't charge a phone in my car. This car is a 2001. It's so old that it only has like the cigarette lighter, but even that doesn't work, as so much of this car does not work. It's got over 200,000 miles on it. Yeah. This poor baby, I'm just thankful that it still runs. It doesn't look pretty. My brother has kind of beat the crap out of it by hauling junk in it and smoking in it, which drives me nuts. But at least it got me to Wawa, where they have power. And I could get a hot chocolate and crafted for you because I had a free reward. So sorry about any weird shadows. I'm in their parking lot with the lights off of their building, trying to give me light. Well, I didn't not this particular Wawa. Old Beth, they won't, not with this particular manager on duty. That ain't gonna happen. Because I know at my Wawa, we were a smaller one at the one I worked at, and we would let people plug in somewhere. But the particular manager on duty at this one doesn't let anybody do that. So, yeah, Maryland, you're right. At least it's not down lines. I was watching, oh, now I can't think of the name of it. There's a gentleman who does weather reports, and he's pretty darn accurate. Ryan, I can't remember his last name. He's live right now, and he's talking about Alabama, and I have been really praying that this stuff is nowhere near Pamela Blanchard and her daughter Kelly, because in Leeds, Alabama right now, they're having a tornado blowing through. So they've had two tornado warnings where they were pretty sure, and then there's one that definitely confirmed a touchdown right now in Leeds, Alabama. So Ryan Hall, thank y'all. Yeah, he's really good. He's been pretty accurate. He's been more accurate on my area than the local people have been. Now, we lucked out. So far, I'm not getting any of the rain, and it's still pretty warm, but the winds will start. They're already kicking in a little, but the worst winds aren't supposed to hit here until about 11 o'clock tonight. But poor Alabama, that long line of storm is really kicking their butts right now. So pray for them. Please pray for them. They've had a rough year. Last year, that whole stretch had a lot of rough storms and tornadoes. So, but yeah, I'm okay. There's no problem in my house, and luckily it's been a warm day. I don't have to worry about heat or anything. But yeah, it's just that it blew out the power, and they'll replace it tonight, but it usually takes about 3 hours, as long as they don't have to replace the pole as well. So yeah, by tomorrow that thing will be up to Massachusetts, because right now, man, it's all, the tail end of it is at one end of Alabama, and the northern side of it stretches all the way up here to Pennsylvania. It's a mess. And they say, who says there's no change to how the climate works? We have more and more crazy storms than we ever did when I was growing up and in my 20s. So we get to just have a chat for a little while. I got about, 20, maybe 15% battery. I'm afraid to touch the phone too much. So I'm hoping everybody stays safe in this storm. It's a heck of a way to start the year off, having another one of these big suckers come through. But yes, you did, Doug. You did. I had a reward for getting a handcrafted beverage, so I got myself a hot chocolate. Somehow I'm losing the light. It's not like the car is moving. Oh man. Wait, this way. There we go. I'll tilt a little bit. You'll see me better. Is it starting to rain up where you are? Yeah, I looked at the radar for this area and I'm still below it. There's a lot of cloud cover, though, you can see flying. If you look to where the moon is supposed to be, you can get glimpses of it now and then and see there's a lot of clouds flying over the edge of where I'm at. So my son was on the roof this afternoon. We had nice warm weather, so he thought maybe if he used spray foam insulation, maybe he could try to figure out and plug up where the holes are that are causing the rain to just literally just steady stream into our second floor landing. It's bad. But he's finding pieces of shingles up there and we can't figure out from where. And there's a raccoon getting into the crawl space above my bedroom. I don't know where that sucker's getting in, but I'll bet wherever he's getting in, that's where those pieces of shingle came from. So I know what my goal for 2022 is. It's going to be getting a new roof. I wasn't planning on that. So I'm thankful for as long as the rain stays the heck away from my house. We have it rigged up with plastic stapled to the ceiling. Part of the ceiling came down. There's been a leak at that spot my entire life. There have been 2 roofs on that house, replacement roofs, in my lifetime too. And my parents, they've never quite gotten that one leak stopped. So yeah, it'll be back. That's why Mike was up there today, because it was so warm today. You know, it was 58 or 60 here, that he figured if he did it now, it would have a chance to cure a little bit before it got too cold tomorrow. So Hello, Nancy Smith. The other Nancy. There's a lot of us Nancys turning out in the community. And Miss Ivy, I think her channel's Miss Ivy Cottage. I met her through Heartland Picker because Brandon was a high school student until last year. He's in college now, and he would sell vintage jewelry, and his mother also sells vintage jewelry. So I met her through that, but she's another Nancy. I think there's 5 of us now floating around the vintage reseller community. We're multiplying. Yes, but I am Tosh. I am Tosh. I need to figure out merchandise that has that on there. That, and somebody wanted something that said, I am not Tinkerbell. So, but yeah, my plan was to go through, and I have a couple of books that need to go on eBay because they need a bigger market. And they need to find the right people, because when you have a book that is a specialty topic or specialty, like a specialty art exhibition, then it's better to put it online where there's more people will be able to find it. And I've got a stack of them. I was hoping to do those tonight. It's not going to happen. I've gotten all of 2 new things listed in my eBay store. One is a box of crowns that have trolls on them. I am sitting in a car. It's field trip night. Oh, I like that. Field trip. No, they're dug a transformer blue on the pole on my street. So the whole street's out. There's no power. And it did the fun. It arced the green lightning up into the sky before it went kaboom. So yeah. So yeah, there's no power at my house, and from experience, it's gonna take about 3 hours before as long as the pole's not on fire, it's got to, and they would have to replace it. Then it'll take about 3 hours for them to replace the transformer and get that all together and get power back up. Oh yeah, they're pretty good in my area because there's old transformers in Chester. There's old transformers. Hey, I just found out my city got one of those grants for wanting to get rid of the old lead pipes that are in old cities. Chester got one. Chester got one of them from the government because Chester dates from pre-colonial. I mean, pre 1776. Chester is where William Penn actually landed. We have the first Quaker meeting house in the country is here in Chester. But we actually were where, when the British invaded Philadelphia, Ben Franklin waited too long and he couldn't get, first off, by then he was too big to be riding astride on a horse, and he couldn't get a carriage. So he and supposedly Jefferson, 2 others, had to take a boat from Philly and get off at Chester, and then they took a carriage from Chester out to King of Prussia, where the King of Prussia and his army was. So Chester is a long, long history, and Chester still has areas where there's clay pipes, there's lead pipes, there's cast iron pipes. I know my own house probably no longer has a pipe that goes from the house to the street, because I'm pretty sure that was clay. Yeah, Scranton. Yeah. Yeah, they just went through in the last 2 years, they've been going through my area and replacing all the old gas lines. And boy, when they took the pipe out from my house, my gas bill went down. because it was so old, being a 1911 gas line. It was the original pipe. And it had so much rust and so many holes in it. I was gassing earthworms without knowing it. But the price of my gas supply went down because I didn't have all those holes from the pipe from the street into the house. And then where it went through the foundation also had some rust and holes in it. But that was after the meter, so whatever leaked there and was, I was paying for. So now we just need to get all of the piping done for water and sewage and stuff, because that's still cast iron. They when they dug the holes up on my street to get to the where the connections were for the houses for the gas line, they found old cobblestone. So apparently my house sits on a street that had cobblestones at one point. So that was a surprise. I never knew that had been a cobblestone street before. Yeah, gas in the earthworms, poor little suckers. Might explain why some of our dirt in our front lawn is kind of crappy. Might have killed all the earthworms in it. That's not a good thing. Trying to drink this while it's still hot, or at least warm. So basically, this is question and answer time. If you guys have any questions you want to ask me about, my phone's got 12% battery, and I don't have a way to charge it because I know who's the manager on at the Wawa right now, so I wouldn't be able to charge it in there, and I don't have a way to do it in this car. Car's too old anyway. Knowing this poor thing. If they designate anything on my particular street, a historic site, it's going to be my house and the one across the street because of their Wetherill family houses. The only two that are still in private hands and haven't been chopped into apartments or offices. Widener owns one of them, Widener University. How I keep smiling through it all? Because I'm slightly nuts. No, the greatest gift I was taught by my mother and her family and her mother's family was find the humor. When you teach kids that from a young age, then as they grow up, they learn to just, find the fun side, find the humor about things. So it does help keep you smiling, because otherwise you're going to stress yourself so much. I mean, this family, that generation that I knew, Annie Al was 18 in 1918. Terry! Hi, darling. I've called you and you never called back. Shame on you. No. Oh, yeah, you've been on my mind too. And then unfortunately it's like 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock at night. And then I'm like, I can't call her at this hour. But they went through that family that I grew up knowing. And I was around them more than my siblings because I was born with a heart murmur. So they always told my mother, the doctors told my mother, is if any illness goes through the house, get her out of the house. So as a little kid, I got sent to go stay with the two great aunts or with my grandparents or with the other great aunt and uncle. So I was around them a lot more. So, that's why I have my own unique brand of crazy. But this is a group of people that Annie, I was the oldest. I was blessed to know the oldest of my great-grandparents' kids. She was born in 1900. So when the flu epidemic came through, she was 18 years old. She was in her teens when World War I was going on. You also had the fact that this is the whole group of people who went through Prohibition. Boy, it was a real shock to find out that my grandfather, my dad's father, was a rum runner. That was interesting to find out. But on mom's side, her mother and father used to go sing in the gin joints for free drinks during Prohibition. Wow. There was, and I don't believe I have it. There was a great picture of her in this neat looking flapper dress, but there's my grandfather in a raccoon coat that goes down to his ankles. And I used to ask him finally, whatever happened to the coat? And he would always tell me, I'll tell you when you're older. Well, sorry about burping there. So I finally got him to tell me, which is good because he passed away when I was 10, but he had been at our house to stay because Nanny had a heart attack, and so she was in the hospital. So he finally told me that he lost the coat because they were in a speakeasy. That was how he put it. Now, remind you, he's finally telling me this, and I'm 9. I didn't understand all of what he said, but I remembered it because of how much everybody else laughed when he was telling us about it. So they were in a speakeasy. It got raided. It was in a basement. The only way out was through the window in the ladies' bathroom. So as they're helping people out, he couldn't fit through the window with this big coat on. So he took it off, handed it to somebody, and he got out the window, and at least he had handed the banjo up to my grandmother once he got her out. So we still have the banjo. But when he tried to get his coat back, other people were just pushing their way out. And so he lost the coat then. He lost a raccoon skin coat. And because it was being raided. So, yeah, I'm in car, not until the car battery runs out, but until the phone battery runs out. Because, rain. Doug, what did you do to me? Doug, this is your fault. It's raining. Doug, what did you do? You sent it to me, didn't you, Doug? Man. Yeah, for those of you who are joining late, transformer blew on my street. There's no power. I actually passed the fire trucks on the way here to Wawa. And so they're pretty good at it in this area because a lot of this area still has old transformers. And so when they blow, as long as they haven't really like damaged the pole any, they usually get it power back on in about 3 hours. Yeah, Doug, I'm waiting for those winds. The neighbor whose tree broke my house, there's still a huge limb that goes straight across the entire width of my house, which he was supposed to have cut off, and he didn't. He also didn't fix my roof. So I realize I have no head because it's so dark in here, and I've got my hood on. I just realized I still have my hood up. My hood's all black. There we go. Hufflepuff for those Harry Potter fans. At least some color there. I don't look like just a floating face in the darkness. So, let's see. So, Terry, I hope you've been okay. And Tia Fey, no, I'm not on a stakeout. It would be more interesting, wouldn't it? So, Wait, what? That little spit of rain and now it stopped. So it must just have been one random cloud. Hi, Fiona. So yeah, we're here until the battery runs out in the phone. And I had said I would go live tonight, but I hadn't expected it to be this. I really hadn't. So that's part of why I have my own brand of crazy, is having grown up with a family that really had the tradition of telling stories and, you know, looking for the humor in things. And I think part of it is because they survived so much. You know, they survived the flu epidemic. I grew up knowing 5 of the 9 of my great grandparents' kids. 2 of them died during that flu epidemic. That flu epidemic went on for more than just 1918. It kept showing up for 3 or 4 years. Kept coming back in little pockets of areas where it would show its ugly little face again. So yeah, there'll be a field trip maybe in the summer. Well, Terry, that's good, because, you know, anytime we're upright and breathing and above ground is a good thing. So, wow, Fiona, it took that long for your package to get there? Well, yeah. Yeah, by 1920, people were still dying of that flu. I think it went into 1921. There were still pocket areas where it would show up. When will they get the power? I don't know specifically, but I know in our area this has happened before over the years. It's been a long while though since we've had one go boom like that. So it'll take, as long as nothing's wrong with the pole or the wiring. They usually have a transformer replaced in 3 hours, which is pretty darn good. So yeah, I have inherited that. I can talk a lot. But you know what's weird is I get self-conscious about silence during my lives because there's just me. I think it's probably easier when there's 2 of you talking. Like, I miss Thrift You. I miss Sam and Sarah and the banter they would have back and forth. But I think it's a lot easier when there's 2 of you. But for me, being alone, I get self-conscious when there's just silence and it's, you know, and we're trying to do a live. It just feels weird. I think that's from all that stage training where they don't want you to have long pauses of silence. I I think in my area they probably, after all these years, have gotten a lot of them replaced, but that's why I was kind of surprised, because that particular one I thought was one of the replaced ones, but replaced a couple of years ago. No, Krista, I don't have snow here. I am not expecting snow. Rain, winds, but not snow. The snow is going to be north of me. Yeah, I mean, Sam and Sarah did one, because they changed the channel name, and they did one craft thing where you craft with them, which actually was, I saw the replay of it. It was kind of funny. Wished I could have done it with them. Terry, they decided that it was time to like go to trying to do something else, and they were going to try to do a craft with me kind of thing where you could see Sarah make some of these assemblages and do things. And they only did one, and then we haven't seen them since then. I think Sam had posted something at one point, but oh, transformers can blow from the salt dust in the air. Hey, Harry. I see autocorrect has gotten you overstaffed. I wish I was overstaffed. I could get a lot more listed that's in that house if I had a staff. uh, but yeah, we're in my car at the Wawa simply because there's no power at my house, Harry. Transformer blew and Doug, I don't mind. I can deal with snow. What I cannot deal with is ice. I don't want ice. No way. I remember that the one sometime in the 90s where we had ice storm after ice storm after ice storm. I don't want it. Things snapping all over the place, cars sliding around. You know, no, I don't want ice. I'll deal with snow. I don't want ice. Ah, Terry, that's all right. You still got enough stuff at my house. So we'll catch up at some part. Yeah, I don't mind the cold when I have a warm house. Harry, I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm in Chester. Well, on the edge of Chester. I am below Philadelphia. Thunderstorm, lightning, hail, sleet, and about a foot of snow. Wow, you ran the gamut, Krista. Yep, no matter how good your tires are, doesn't matter if you got four-wheel drive, nothing. Ice is the great equalizer for all vehicles. So, but I'm glad we don't have that. I don't want ice. Ice is a bad problem. I'm having enough problems with raccoons. I want to know how that sucker's getting into that crawl space above my bedroom. What's worse is that if it can get into there, that means it can get into the attic. I don't want that little shit in my attic. So. Oh, Krista, you're snowed in again? Well, just pretend it's a repeat of 2020 where we were all stuck at home. Cleaning out closets, cleaning out cabinets, listing stuff on eBay. Well, you can't do that if you're snowed in. You can't get it out to ship it. So, get too much snow in North Carolina. My son is trying to convince me that I need to move to Florida, and I keep telling him no. Florida gets hurricanes, and Florida gets hot and humid, which no, I can't do that too well either. So no. And we wouldn't be moving until, something happened to Gary. Dump him out in Marcus Hook. Yep. That's not a bad idea. So there's a lot of wooded areas. I could dump him off in Rose Valley. I could dump him in Ridley Creek State Park, Did Hazel make it to P? I think by the time Hazel got up here, I think it was just rain. Yeah, Delaware's got a nice climate. And this little corner of Pennsylvania, a lot of times storms, they go north. They'll split and they'll go to the west of me and hit Westchester, and then they'll go north and hit Philly. So, I'm not in too bad an area for weather. So, and I've been having real fun. Scouts is back in session. They're going skiing. We used to do that. So we had to move a trip. They used to go skiing New Year's weekend, whatever was that first weekend before school started in January. And they had to stop because there was never any snow. So now they moved it to February. And now we've got 60-degree weather. So, but they're supposedly still going skiing next weekend. It's a week away yet. I'm not going. You can't pay me to slap 2 waxed boards on my feet and fall down a mountain. Now, if you want me to go down that mountain, let me take my flexible flyer sled and I'll go down that mountain and I'll have fun. I can steer that better than I could those boards on my feet. So, Terry, you belong in New England? New England gets a lot of snow. You better like snow. A friend of mine that I used to do theater workshop with, she's outside of Stowe, Vermont. She gets a lot of snow. Parksburg. I've heard of Parksburg. So if you guys don't know Harry Humstone's channel, you should go to Harry. Now, Harry doesn't do live sales, but the stuff this guy finds is sometimes, man, it's just choice. It's choice. I'm telling you, it's choice. You gotta go. Go see some of Harry's videos, man. The stuff and teacups. If you like teacups and saucers, Harry, you hit the mother load every now and then of some really stunning cups and saucers. And toys, that fire truck you found, I'm still in awe of that one. Yeah, too much snow is bad when you get older, when you don't have anybody else to do all of the shoveling for you. But yeah, go check out Harry's channel if you don't know Harry Humstone. He finds some great stuff. The channel name, Terry? Harry Humstone. It's the same, it's his name. And he finds some cool stuff. I like watching him. I still watch Crazy Lamp Lady. I still watch Jocelyn now and then, just so I can learn. Just so I can learn what stuff's out there, and because I'm still learning over all this stuff. You know, there's so much vintage market. I posted a picture on my Instagram. No, I did not buy it. I saw one of the biggest paint by numbers I've ever seen, and it's all ballet theme. And that thing must have been, and it's in the original frame. And that thing must have been 18 to 20 inches tall and about 30 inches long. And the frame is probably 3 inches all the way around that. So, yeah, I saw Sam's Pink Elephant Parlor is having a squeaker toy, those vintage squeaker toy sale. She has, you couldn't pay me to walk into a room with that many squeaker toys. Because I know some people that would want to squeak every single one of them. Make a lot of noise. So, yeah, everybody, there's a lot of us that have their niche. Though my niche, I know a lot of stuff that's mostly just little stuff. You know, I know a little bit about this one or that one, and you know, I know a good bit about old books. I know a lot about Gilbert and Sullivan stuff. But you have to know what it is to know what you're looking at for Victorian trade cards. I got the troll, don't worry. It's just I couldn't tell you glass. I don't know much about glass at all. I know a little bit about some Japanese stuff, I did find an awesome website that gives you marks for the Japanese porcelain, and it tells you which one, if they were a subsidiary of Noritake, which is very helpful. Yeah, I mean, you read so much trying to learn stuff, and then you forget more than you can retain. I mean, you guys, if you, some of you were there when I went through 2 weeks ago, when I went through the shelf of my reference books. That's a lot of stuff. Now, I have to admit, there's probably about 15 on that shelf that I haven't read yet, that I've just gone in and looked for something and I haven't read it cover to cover. And I know I'm missing a few because there should have been a few more. There should have been a couple more pottery ones, and there should have been one on peach blow. It's a type of glass. It's the way it's finished. And that book wasn't there. So that book's in the house somewhere. Yeah, thank goodness. Yeah, I like pottery. I like some pottery. I like some of the McCoy. Most of the McCoy pieces I have they're a solid color. I have a few vases and I have planters. That's why when I pulled that lady out for last week's sale, I went ahead and sold that because I went and sold that lady the lady head that was the wall pocket, because that's not my thing. That's why I have to get back to the black hole challenge room, because I really desperately need an office space. And I need a way to have things get onto shelves so I could see what I've got. And right now I'm trying to do packing on a card table because I couldn't get back up to the third floor because of the pinched nerve. So that creates its own nightmare, trying to do that on such a small space. Now, next week, because I see the battery slowly going, next week I will be on for a live sale. And next week's going to be a busy week for me for sales. Next Thursday on my channel, I will have a guest. I will have Reclaim Treasures by Mary. So Mary Frank will be on the live sale with me. So I'll have her and we'll both be selling things. And then that's next Thursday, a week from now. And then that Saturday night, I'm going to be with Trisha on Sandy and Otto as a guest on her Saturday night sale. So I will have 2 sales next week. So, and I've had 2 days where I thought, great, I can do nothing but pack and sort stuff. And no, don't. Michael had off. He never tells me when he's going to have off from work. Drives me nuts. But we went out shopping because our washing machine was dying. And so we went out, spent one day going to 3 different stores looking at washing machines. So I now have a new washer. So that's taken care of. And then, of course, the day they deliver it, Wednesday, and the fittings didn't work because the old hoses were stuck to the pipe. So we had to get a new piece of pipe, replace all that. By the time we got all that straightened out, it was 2 p.m. I'm trying to think. I don't think I own a piece of Roseville. I have a piece of Rookwood. I'm never parting with that. Somebody asked me how much would it be to buy my piece of Rookwood, and I said, talk to my estate after they pry it out of my cold, dead hands. I only have one piece. Oh, yeah, Mary's a hoot. I can't wait to have a sale with Mary. And we've been trying for over a month to coordinate to be able to have her come over and be on my sale. So hey, I mean, life has its ups and downs, and you know, you just you try to deal with it, and you just hang on. And do I have alerts on for power updates? Not right now, no, because they would keep interrupting the live feed. I have candles and I know how to use them. I have flashlights, and so I have lanterns, propane and battery operated. So yeah, I love Rookwood, but I only own one piece. I don't have any Van Briggle. I do have, oh shoot, I I found it, didn't realize, and I have the note shoved down in it. It's a tobacco leaf jar from the 20s or 30s, and now I can't remember who made it. And I picked that up. I picked that sucker up when I said I had this new honey hole. That's an old video. Now when I get back down there, it turns out they got rid of all their smalls. He sends them to the same auction that Philly Flipper has been going to. Yes, Terry, my physical therapy is done simply because I ran out of physical therapy that they would pay for. But at that point, we were to the point where it wasn't doing me any more good. I still have one pinched nerve, and I have to be careful how I move. But the screaming's done. The nerve that was causing all that had let go. So Terry, I'm hanging in there. There's things I got to get taken care of. I pretty sure traction therapy caused 2 hernias. I have to get that taken care of, and I have to get get an MRI of my knee. But otherwise, knock on, well, ain't nothing wood in this car except my head. So, so things are going good. We're hoping to keep it that way for a while. So, Terry, I will call you because I have your number. I'll call you in the next day or two. Are Mike and your brother sitting at home at the dark? When I left my brother, he was sound asleep. And Mike is off playing Magic the Gathering up in King of Prussia. So he's not even home. Tia Fane, I haven't actually had the booster, but I had 3 actual shots. Because I had the first one, and then I fell like 2 days before I was supposed to get my second one. So now, go to when I could finally get up around and move on my own in September, I'm trying to call and see about, do I have to start over or can I just get the second one? And I couldn't get a straight answer for anybody. So finally I got, I'm so covered. I am so covered. So I finally got somebody who asked me a little bit at the county health department. Asked me a little bit of background of breathing problems, certain allergy problems, immune system stuff, and said that it's not going to hurt you, but it sounds like you probably do want to start over again just to make sure you're really well covered. So I have now had 2 first shots and then that second shot. So I am well covered as far as that goes. And I've had my flu shot. So the other thing I have driving me nuts right now is because we keep getting these warm days. Bye, Harry. We keep getting these warm days, and I have mold allergies. And there's a lot of leaves still. The whole backyard's still all leaves, and so that's the one thing that's driving me nuts. It's driving Mike nuts too. Is we both have we both have the same mold allergies to leaf mold. So what do? We go run around in the woods with Boy Scouts. So hey, the kids keep me sane too. They were loving the hair, having that little bit of purple in the front and then pink on the sides, even though it's fading. They thought that was great. So 8:49. All right, we got a few more minutes. I'll probably wrap this up at 9 o'clock. So anybody else have any questions they want to have a chance to have me answer tonight? So I did find a neat looking porcelain owl. That'll be in next week. Yeah, leaf mold and old trees. So goodbye, Krista. I don't know why I get louder when I say goodbye to people. It's like, oh, wait, see you later. Like I'm shouting to them. You guys are right here on the phone. Oh, that's going to be busy for me as I have to find stuff for 2 sales for next week. And with everything in boxes, it's a challenge. It takes so much time to find stuff, but I manage, but some days it's, makes you a little worried. Makes you just a little worried. So, and then that sale last week, I decided to empty a couple boxes that I had carefully wrapped up with stuff that was going to go onto eBay. And for some of them, I did okay and did what was expected if they had been listed. A couple other ones, man, some people got some really, really good deals. I've done that. When I've done a sorting night and we've gone through a box, there have been times when I was just selling the stuff right out of the box that night. The problem has come in that I've run into a big section at the other end of the living room, which I call Warehouse 13, where I've run into a lot of old books. And some of them are specialty books. And this isn't necessarily the best market. And for now, this has definitely become my job because it's the only income I've got now since I had to leave Wawa since I couldn't lift anything. So books are a challenge because I can't lift the box and it takes so much longer to pull out a few at a time that I can lift until you get the box empty enough to move that out of the way, hoping to find more of what the vintage community looks for. So yeah, Doug, you're one of the ones I was thinking of. I thought I had the right size box for her. She is right now sitting on my desk in bubble wrap because I thought I had the right size box for her. And then with the bubble wrap on her now, she's too long. So I got to get a bigger box. I have bigger boxes. I just had to put her in one and then the lights went out. Mike helps when he can, Jen. The big challenge for me to have Mike help me move stuff is that Mike works 3rd shift, comes home in the morning, and does his college classes because Wawa's been paying for his college. So he has online classes. So they're all in the morning. Well, by the time he's done them, he's got to go to sleep so that he can get up at 8 o'clock, get a shower, and get moving because he's got to be at work by 10 at night and, wash, rinse, repeat. So yeah, so he graduates in April. Yes, yes, yes. So he's 27 now, and he will graduate with a business administration degree in April. So I'm so glad. I thought it was going to be a little later than that, but no, he finally will be done in April. So that's great, and we have plans for when he's not working. Definitely have to do some work on the yard. Definitely need to give me an office. So I need to have that room somehow figured out how to have it emptied out. And then he'll help me get things scrubbed and painted and get shelving in there. I have a desk that needs a little bit of restoration work that's in my sister's basement. There's also boxes of toys and stuff at my sister's. I need to get them out of there. Especially as some of that is, I'm pretty sure that's where the Weebles are. Remember that Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down? Those suckers do really pretty well on eBay. Surprisingly well, because for such a stupid toy. But, but you know, there are toys that go back to my oldest brother. We just emptied the toy box. We emptied all the drawers. Mom kept all the toys. That's why I refer to this one room as the playroom, because that's where all the toys were kept, and that's where her sewing machine was. So, bye, Doug. So we always called it the playroom. Well, unless it was really broken, the toy got kept. So there's a lot of decades of bits and pieces of toys. Some will probably end up in live sales now and then. Some are going to end up going onto eBay, and I need to refill my eBay store. I need to refill my Etsy store. I usually take pictures outside for the Etsy stuff, but we haven't had decent weather to be able to do it. So we'll take a road trip soon. We'll take a road trip and I'll let you see that dining room at some point. You guys, I don't think, have ever seen in that room. Wait till you see the piles of fabric along one wall. It's a hot mess. The amount of stuff in that house is just kind of stunning when you think about it. So, and I've emptied stuff over the years, but not fast enough. That's what this year is for. Just keep plugging away at it. Oh yeah, Karen, fabrics. We haven't even begun to get there. Haven't even begun. Go back and watch any one of the Black Hole Challenge videos. And that's just a hint. I mean, some of that is just the fabrics I had bought that came out of that room, though there were some stashed in there by my mother. And then there are fabrics from my mother in the dining room that I don't even know how old I know how old some of the fabric is, because the last time I was in there, I found a bag that had fabric in it for clothes she was going to make me when I switched from Christian schools to public school for my junior and senior year. So that was 1983 and 1984. Well, 82 to 83 and 83 to 84. Because I graduated in June of 84 at 19. So, yeah. So there's fabric that predates even that. They moved into that house in 1962, and I don't even know how much fabric might have come with her. So there's also patterns that go back to my great-grandmother and my grandmother. So, hey, Papa Smurf. So there's, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sometimes people will buy sheets just for the fabric value. Partly because it's a heavier weight, and it's some of the fabric that I see now. I used to work for Joann Fabrics, and when I go in there now and I see how thin some of the cottons are that they sell for crafting and quilting, I just cringe. I should never be able to pick up a piece of cotton meant for quilting and hold it up to the light and be able to see the light fixture through the fabric. And I'm not talking just see light through the fabric. I'm talking see the entire lighting fixture through the fabric. I shouldn't be able to do that. So, yeah. Sarah Wetherill was not living at my house at the time she sold it. She had retired out to, the family referred to it as the farm, because I've been in contact with the Wetherill family. And so that was somewhere out in Quakertown. And they they told me that that's where she retired to, and then she had been renting the house out to people. I know that before mom and dad bought the place, there had been an Italian family that had moved in there to rent it, and the grandmother had died in one of the rooms. And they moved out, and then apparently in the living room they did this thing where they had painted around around the sofa or something. They didn't paint the whole wall. They painted around it. And I found out why, like, most of the house was painted this 1950s dark green on the walls with white woodwork, was because Sarah wanted the whole place freshened up before she put it on the market to sell it. Now, at this point, Sarah Wetherill was well into her, I think, in her 80s. And she had this niece paint the place for her because they had 2 young kids and they could use the money. So she told them, go paint. And so her husband went and just picked up the cheapest paint he could get, which happened to be all this dark green from the 1950s. So there's still one room in the house. It's still that same green because it never got painted. My father and mom, they never painted the master bedroom. So it's still that same god awful green. It's Mike's room now. So she did that. So when my parents moved in, everything was pretty much whatever color they painted it. And they moved in 1962. They bought the house directly from her. Now, she met my mom. My mom was there looking through the side porch window into the living room when Sarah Wetherill, and she didn't drive. So her lawyer, who was handling everything, brought her to check on the house, and apparently brought her with, a picnic lunch to she would come and check on the house. And they had a card table and 2 folding chairs, and they would set it up in the house. And so, but she had finally agreed to sell it. Well, she invited my mom to stay, talked to my mom, found out they had 5 kids and really needed a bigger house. She liked my mom so much, and she really wanted the house to be a house with children in it, that they lowered the price. She sold that house in 1962 for $15,000 to my parents. She lowered the price so they could buy it. And so they were only the second owners. Got it right from her, which is really cool because there's still, Dad never really did anything to the house. So, but Dad did do some things to the house, but but there's some stuff that's still original. The house was built, front half of the house was built in 1911, and then in 1935 they added on to the back of it. So that's when Sarah Wetherill sold it to my parents. She sold it in 1962, and then she was, at that point, was living out on this farm, the family farm, somewhere out in Quakertown. So, what reminds you the inside of a school bus? Green paint, or where I'm sitting, how dark it is? We know the grandmother from the Italian family had passed away in the house, but that's not the ghost, so she's not been a problem. Somebody must have, because there's a ghost. I've seen him. 2 of my nieces have seen him. He walks down the 3rd floor hallway, turns and disappears in through the attic door. Don't know who he is. Don't know where he thinks he's going. But I don't know, there could have been another house there before that one was built, because if you look at really old maps of the city, that property was owned by somebody else at one point, and there was a house, but the house is not placed, it's not as big a footprint as the house that's there now, and it's also not exactly in the same spot. So I'd like to at least restore a bunch of it. I mean, Dad did cheap repairs and some repairs he ignored. So now they're to the point where a lot, and they put, of all things, he put aluminum siding over the old wood. So that just turns it into an oven. So a lot of the wood underneath the aluminum siding is dry rotting. So there's going to be a lot of issues to deal with before we can even sell it. First thing we got to do is fix that leak in the roof. I don't know that he's from before the 19th century because of the way he's dressed. He's very much sometime 1910 era, you know? So need a moderator. Well, thought I caught. Oh, I see it. I missed that one. You guys, I think, are seeing them first. I noticed that with StreamYard that first off, in StreamYard, I don't think I don't see the chats in the same way. Like on YouTube, I can set it to live chat, which is what you guys should be in. But on StreamYard, I don't see necessarily the same order. So I think StreamYard and StreamYard has a delay of when I see the chat too. Oh, you got them, Jen? Thanks. Thank you. I know I don't have quite enough moderators. So that was, I think, the third or the fourth troll we've had tonight. That's not too awful. So we've been at this for an hour, and the little part for my battery just turned red. So I think it's time to go before the phone dies completely. Now I've been sitting in the parking lot talking to myself for an hour. At least how they all see it. Hello! Vintage Conversations here. Hi, hon. So I'm in, for those late comers, I'm in the car because the transformer in my neighborhood blew, so there's no power at my house. And we basically have turned this into a chat for a little bit while the phone still had power, but the battery just is now like turned red, which means it's down to like 10% or less of power. So just remember, next week though, I will have Mary on my live sale next Thursday at 8 p.m. It's gonna be until I think it's St. Patrick's Day is when Patrick and I switch back, and I can have my late night with my night owls again. And hey, you know, show me somebody that's got to make lemonade out of something, and I'll bring the vodka and we'll have a party. That, you know, life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And Ron White always said, then you find somebody whose life gave him vodka and you have a party. So Thursday sale will have Mary, and then Saturday night I will be on Sandy and Otto with Trisha for her sale. So I'll see you guys next week. And until then, pray for Alabama, because they were getting hit hard an hour and a half ago when I last saw a news report. And stay safe with this storm. This thing's going to have some nasty winds coming up overnight. It stretches through 3 or 4 states, this blasted storm. So stay safe. And I will see you guys next week. And maybe I'll finally get a video posted this week. Who knows? I always intend to and never always get to it. So see you guys later. Go have fun. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube to find and watch. See you next week.